Welcome to Pull a Pin Already, a place where average veterans come to share their opinions about the world we live in. We can't guarantee you're going to like our opinions, but we promise we're going to give them to you anyway. I'm Jim.
I'm Tanner.
Let's pull the pin already. Welcome back, Tanner. I know you're pretty fresh and new at this, so our intros are going to struggle, or we may have to just change them up because, we like different things. But welcome back.
Absolutely.
Good
Change
to
on the
have you here.
fly. Yeah,
I
thank you. It's good to be here.
I I know we're going to talk about some stuff. We're not going to do this like our normal shows. Normally, we just pull some headlines and we talk about them from our perspective as average veterans. Because you're not a super sniper, special forces, Delta, none of that, right? Yeah. So you don't get
No,
instant
sir.
fame and
No, I'm not.
credibility, right? Yeah. Otherwise, you'd have a book, right? And I'd be reading your book for you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So you got to forgive me too. I'm so used to talking a lot more. I don't want to be keep cutting over you, but I'm so used to doing most of the talking that it's a different
All
feel
good.
here. So why don't we just jump into this stuff? What do we want to talk about today? I know you had something you want to talk about.
I was thinking we could talk about this thing I pulled up. House GOP approves resolution to appoint Kamala Harris as a border czar. That was an interesting one that I saw.
Well, we can start off with just the whole Kamala Harris thing. Like, let's just start from the
Sure.
beginning. Like, first of all, we all know. Well, I don't want to say we all know, but most of us paying attention are pretty hip that this is all part of the same plan they've had. Maybe it's turning out a little bit different with the details, but one minute, everybody's endorsing Joe Biden. Next minute, he has a bad, debate. Then next minute, people are calling for him to get out. Then the next minute he's staying in, he's endorsing. Next minute, somebody signs a letter for him saying he's getting out. So this is a little bit crazy. And then Kamala steps in there, right? And somehow Kamala gets delegates, and somehow they haven't even had the Democratic National Convention yet, but somehow she's already the presidential candidate.
Somehow, there's always been some shady stuff at work between the two of them. Personally, for me, I've always held the opinion that Biden has essentially been a figurehead, like the Queen was for England for a long time, with Kamala behind the scenes pulling the strings like the puppet master. That man doesn't even know where he is half the time, let alone, what he's trying to say about our country. These people are telling him to say things, telling him to do things, and he gets lost half the time. And so I'm personally glad that he dropped out because I think that it's going to make Trump's reelection a little bit easier.
So you think so? Well, I think that the theory behind it was they'd rather face Biden because nobody likes Biden. Biden's a disaster. So my question is, well, I don't think you just got in here. You haven't seen much of our past episodes, but I've been saying this forever. And in fact, it's I've even got a headline that I brought up. Um, Obama endorses Harris as Democratic presidential nominee. And the reason I brought that up is because I know you haven't been here to, seen these, but I've been saying this forever. Obama made a statement on TV in an interview that he would not want a third term, but he'd love to be in the earpiece of whoever's doing it. So in other words, he wanted the power without the responsibility. And that was my assumption. That's who's been running this country. I think he was the first president to buy property in DC after his presidency. So clearly he's staying in DC, or he wants a place to stay in DC. So we all know, and it's
He-
his cronies that are
Yeah.
still, they're still on the payroll underneath Biden. And everybody knows Biden and Obama didn't get along.
Oh,
So,
absolutely.
and Harris and Biden didn't get along. Because let's be real, Harris called Biden a racist, and there's a whole lot of evidence to say that could be true, unlike the crap they're trying to fabricate about Trump. But so we know that this is just what they call politics. So
Oh
right
yeah.
now,
Politics these days is literally just who has the most money to slander the opposition the most and make them look the worst.
right.
That's what it's boiled down to, which is honestly pathetic.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess the sad part to me though is we all know this, right? You can go up to anybody on the street, right? And you can ask them, "Hey, do you trust politicians?" What do you think they're going to say?
Absolutely not.
Right. So let's just say for general that that's 90% of the population. there's a small group of 10%, 30 million people that just say, oh, yeah, politicians never lead me wrong. They never lie to me like that, whatever. I think that's way over shooting the number. But if 90% of the population doesn't believe or trust politicians, why do they keep coming to their defense because it's on their team?
It's just they're trying to they want to stick to their side. Like they believe that it's still there's the left, there's the right, there's Democrats, there's Republicans. For me, my my view on politics is I just honestly want everyone to get along. I want peace. I want I want black people to stop getting shot down in the streets. I want mothers to be able to, have their own rights. I just want a world where everyone can coexist. And honestly, the current political system does not it doesn't sustain that. So everyone is still clinging to their sides, but what people need to do right now is come together. What America needs to do is come together as one because they're honestly trying to divide us.
But I wanted to make the point where you were talking about everybody getting along. If we even understand what the government's for, like the whole purpose of the government was to be small and was to protect us from the people taking advantage of us, whether it be us
Absolutely.
or outside people. So that's why we have a military to protect from outside people taking advantage of us and trade rule, all that stuff. But it's become the government has become the people who are taking advantage of us. And all the things you argue about, or you brought up in your comments there, whether it's race, gender, religion, the abortion, all that stuff is negotiable through the people because we've always done that. The government needs
Yes,
to take their hands out of
it's
it.
always been regulated by the people.
Right. The government needs to get their hands out of it. And the sad part is, like I said, we'll go back on track with the Kamala Harris thing is I don't know why they think we're stupid, and I don't know why there's so many of them, but like we all saw what happened. Kamala Harris ran for president. She dropped out. She
Mhm.
was the first one to drop out. Nobody liked her. And now all
No,
of a
nobody would
sudden,
vote for her.
right, and now all of a sudden everybody's all about Kamala. I don't think it's real. I think this the media and everything, TikTok and all that, I think they're pushing this so hard to make everyone believe that Kamala's popular.
Well, absolutely, because so there's a podcast that I personally watch quite a bit. It's ran by veterans like ourselves. They have a much larger platform though, and they made a comment
Hey, don't rub
where
it in.
yeah, they made a comment where politics is no longer who can really fund the most. I kind of want to retract the statement earlier about people throwing money at each other. It's not really about who can throw the most money these days. It's more open source politics. It's who can get the most traction on social media because our lives are consumed by social media these days. So if they can get the more followers they can get online, the more traction they get, the more people see it, and that's how they're getting it. They're pumping their stuff online. That's
Well,
how they're getting all this stuff out.
but let me ask you: is this artificially generated, or like here? This heads to the mainstream media is trying to memory hole past reporting about Kamala Harris. So I ask you: the stuff that's pumping out, the stuff we're seeing on social media, is that real? I mean, like, are people just that dumb, or are they just pretending? Because we all saw this stuff happen. We all saw Biden call President or Vice President Kamala Harris the border czar. We've all saw the internet. We saw this stuff, and now the
It's
media,
online. You can find it.
right? And the media is saying like, we didn't. This didn't happen. This didn't happen. I mean, they're literally pulling stuff off the internet, and then you see on the social medias that people are supporting her. So that's a conflict to me. Like, are people
Yeah.
really falling for this? Are they that dumb, or or what?
It's like the old magician's trick, sleight of hand. Hey, look at all of this nice, cool stuff over here while I black out the internet and keep all of and take everything she said off.
We
They're
know
they're
this is a CIA tactic anyway, because that's what the diversion's all about. I mean, our former president, possibly and hopefully future president, was almost assassinated, And
Yeah.
all of that's in the media, all of that's going on. And then the next thing you know, to drown that all out, Biden resigns. Kamala's pushed this big push, like she's going to do some debate against Trump. And like, are you kidding me? Like,
So yeah, some cataclysmic stuff for the Dems happens just a couple of days after, v-
right.
former president and, like you said, hopefully future President Trump gets nearly assassinated.
And, and
Hmm.
and then they'll tell you, I see these ads like Trump's a threat to democracy. So wait a minute, you just took the democratically selected president who got the most votes apparently in presidential history and removed him because why? Not because he's incapable, right? Because if he's incapable, he
No,
shouldn't be our president right now.
no,
So what is
like that
actually
man is
going on?
definitely not. That man's definitely not incapable. I was on, I believe I was on Instagram the other day, and I was scrolling through, and I saw Donald Trump doing his golf, playing golf. That man, his golf stroke's weird, but man, he can hit. That man is definitely not, you know,
Oh yeah, I
out
was
of
talking
it.
about Trump. I wasn't talking about Trump. I was talking about Biden. Biden, if
Oh,
if Biden
I'm
is
sorry,
not
I misheard.
capable to run for president, how is
Oh,
he
I'm sorry. Yes.
running?
So I was
How
I
is he
was
running the
making
country?
I was making the comparison. Like
Oh right,
Trump still got all his marbles,
yeah,
but Biden's over here and he can't even string a sentence together without a teleprompter, and even still he messes up.
and that's my point. So this is what frustrates me. Like, and don't get me wrong, I see some of these morons on my local, pages and stuff. How is it that people just don't see this, or they just do they refuse to see it, or do you
It's
think they're that
it's a
sheltered in this day and age that they're not getting the
I
news?
honestly I think they have buried their heads in the sand. They just don't wanna, view reality anymore. They would rather stay in their little, protected PC safe bubbles and, not have to deal with the ugly world of politics and what's gonna come with this presidential election. So I to answer your question, Jim, I think it's not a lack of intelligence. I think it's a lack of guts. People don't wanna step up and do what's hard because it's hard.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think you're right. It goes back to personal character. I think integrity's lacking. I think accountability's lacking, and I think my opinion of it is I think people have tied themselves to their selection. In other words, like I've said
Mhm.
this before. In other words, if you were a Biden supporter, you're not wrong. You're a bad person now. If you would just say, look, this is what I choose and this is why I choose it, you can say, oh, I made a bad choice. But these people have now become Biden
It's their
anti
identity.
Trump. So it's their identity. And identity is hard to pull away from even when you're wrong.
It's
That's when you'll find
politics these
excuses and,
days politics these days is almost akin to gangs, like, you could make the comparison to
yeah,
gangs almost,
yeah,
because they're killing each other like gangs, they're repping their sets like gangs,
over
like,
nothing. Over nothing but a wrong word, wrong color. Yep, over nothing.
it's wild.
Because
It's
it's the
because
craziest
that's
thing.
what we've been reduced to.
Yeah, and because like I said, it like I'm not even going to say I agree with everything you believe in per se on the list you went through, but I agree that there are so many things we agree on. Like no Republican or Democrat wants people to die. Well, I say that no, that's too generic because there are people that believe in depopulation, and I think Kamala is actually one of them. So, but I
Surprise
think
me.
yeah, I think the intent behind it is, take a controversial thing like you're talking about, abortion. No matter what side you stand on that, and I don't really want to go down the rabbit hole because we're probably going to go too far on
Fair
that.
enough.
But whatever side you stand on that, I think both people are trying to save lives. You know what I mean? So
Absolutely.
at the end of the day, I just don't, I don't see why we fight with each other over the details when we both have the same end goal. And then
We
I
fight
think
with each other we fight with each other because they want us to fight with each other.
right.
They
And
wanna
like you just
create
said, shiny object.
essentially Yeah, they essentially wanna create the fog of war. They want us, they don't want us thinking straight, they want us infighting, like, they don't like you said, they don't want us seeing what's happening over here. It's all misdirection, and the fact that our government is actively trying to deceive us is
Right.
just proof of how corrupt they are. If the founding fathers came back, they would go to a gun store, they would raid it, and they would just start shooting.
Right. I mean, well, think about all the work, all the things they went through. I mean, the lives lost and all that to put us in a position because we're not a democracy, a constitutional republic. They created a
Hmm.
document that, when implemented, and we've added to it to make changes, but when implemented, is a great moral guideline. The
It
very see
works.
that's how you know there's something wrong here. The very two things. Now you don't have to agree on the circumstances, but the very two things that can set this country and its people up for ultimate success: the Constitution and the Bible. Whether you agree with them or not, those very two things are what these people are against. So
Yep,
that should tell you right there that you don't have to believe in God to understand the Bible is a good reference to be a good person. You don't have to believe in the founding fathers to understand the Constitution sets our country up for success. But
absolutely.
these people fight so hard against it. And I will ask you, who will give you the most resistance when you're taking away their stuff?
Veterans,
So it's
specifically Marine Corps veterans. Ooh,
at
fucking raw.
at
Take
the
my
end at
guns.
the end of the day, I'm hoping that there's a lot of good Americans, loyal Americans, that don't allow this. I don't think it's smart for whoever these powers that be. That's always the thing. It's when people say they, and I don't like that. But the people with the power and the money, not all of them are bad. I mean, I think Elon Musk is doing good things, and you know, but I think at some point I want to get people to understand the Nancy Pelosi's in the world that got rich off of insider trading, got rich off of our tax money, that actually provided nothing to this country, nothing to this
The
country.
leeches.
But yes, those people, you will not pay me enough to guard them if this world collapses.
No.
So those
Lo-
people, all of their money and all of their walls they built will become their own prison because nobody's going to guard them unless they give them some really good incentive to stay there.
exactly. And here's
So
the
I don't
thing, as soon as that grid goes down, all of their millions and billions ain't worth dog spit. So they're
right.
gonna be picking out the same trash cans as the hobos that they were just looking down their nose at.
Yes, and I'm gonna guarantee you that the people like those gangs you were talking about, those gangs, when they run out of resources, you ain't coming to my poorhouse. You're going to a place where you know has got resources. So I don't understand why these people are so content on tearing this country down when they're going to suffer for it too. Like you can say Trump may be selfish, greedy, I don't care what you call him, but the man understands that you raise this country and he benefits. So
Absolutely.
I don't understand what these leeches are doing. They can suck us dry for a good life, but they're screwing their children. They're screwing everybody that comes after them. So
Absolutely.
I think I went on
These
a rant there.
I
Did we even talk about Kamala and her czar?
Yeah, next time.
Yeah,
Next time.
I don't I don't like I said, I
I
don't know what's going on, but I think people need to start preparing because it is so blatantly
Yes. Oh
in
my
your
lord,
face
yes.
lying and corruption that you're going to be called to the carpet one day. You're going to have to
If
respond.
there is one thing I could stress the most is prep. I mean, you don't have to go full doomsday preppers, dig a bunker in your backyard. But I mean, stock some, freeze-dried food, some water, get some weapons, get some ammo. Get ready to just defend yourself. Get ready to, get on the move if you have to, because
Mhm.
that's what it's coming to. I honestly see a civil war coming in the future because once Trump gets in office, and I very much believe he will, because I take this from evidence. The Reagan assassination in 1981, when they tried to kill him, that man immediately got elected. So I think that that's going to recur. And
You
once he
you
gets
you
in,
think they're gonna
the
stop
Democrats are
though?
going to lose their minds.
You think they're gonna stop? Like this is what I was trying to get at earlier. You understand? Like, have you ever seen a dog in a pack of dogs with a steak? That
I,
dog
I've
will
seen I've s- I've seen some wild dogs, but
right.
not like that.
What I'm saying is that dog will die to protect that steak instead of going to get another one.
Absolutely.
Which tells you that these Democrats are not going to let this stop because they're going to lose everything. Now, I don't think the extreme,
Yes.
like dictator, they're all going to jail. Well, some of them deserve to be in jail, so hopefully they're accountable.
Some of them deserve to be under the jail.
Right, but so that hopefully they're accountable for their actions. But at the end of the day, they are going to be so desperate while they still have power and money, they're not going to stop here. This is going to get worse. And I don't like
They're gonna
again,
make one final push.
yeah, and like I said, I don't know. You know, you think this is the only assassination attempt on Trump? It's not Reagan. This isn't the Reagan years. These people have more to lose. These people have
Yeah,
more
they're
to
they're
lose.
gonna they're gonna keep throwing stuff at the wall till something sticks.
Yes, and I'm afraid it's going to get real ugly. I mean, it already is. Kamala's trying to make it president. All right. Speaking of ugly, let's get out of here because we're going to run this one really long. And I do appreciate Tanner the conversation. I like having the conversation. I appreciate you on here. So we're going to go ahead and move
Absolutely,
on,
Jim. Anytime.
and we're going to close this out. Thank you all for like, share, subscribe. The website, which is scrolling at the bottom, is up and working. Get on there, like, share, subscribe. Get in there and comment. We'll try to do better having conversation in there, even with the dumb heads that just post stupid stuff. But hopefully we get you on board, Tanner. Get in there, start commenting on these people. But until then,
Absolutely.
Godspeed. You're supposed to say pull the pin.
Pull the pin.
Thanks for joining us here. Pull the pin already. We hope you had as much fun as we did. If you like what we do, go ahead and hit that like button and share this video with a friend. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell button so you don't miss out on any of our future episodes. But most importantly, leave a comment below. Let us know if you agree or disagree with our opinions. Hope to see you here next time on Pull the Pin Already.